Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron for the New Order of Germany. Let us continue on from where we last left off. I was just checking the time. Okay, we called in our two participants, which allows us to attack into this position, and a stroll through the headquarters. Field Marshal Hans Spädel paced through the quarters of the OKW headquarters, muttering to himself as his brain ran through scenarios and formed links. The secretaries, administrators, and officers stepped out of his way with a respectful nod. They were used to his behavior. The chief of the OKW could barely sit for 10 minutes without wanting to shoot at his feet and stroll around the building in thought. Moments before, he had ordered agents of the Field Marshal Herr's Osh to hunt for Schroeder's location. The man had always been a spiteful little snake. But since the Fuhrer's rejection of his venom has only grown more poisonous, is this not already what happened? I could have sworn at least the bottom of that event is like the exact same. By the way, how's our air superiority? Oh, it's beautiful. Now, there is some troops in Crimea, but I'm not going to worry about them, and I'm just going to assume that everything is golden. Everyone here is still allied. We're executing our plans. And that should allow this to finish. Once we dismantled the... I'm assuming we're dismantling the militarist faction. And again, I'm more worried for the militarist than I am for the reformist. Let's see if we can move you down towards Baku. And I mean, this is a pretty good... There's no time to lose, Bormann snapped to his grip. His phone tightened. You must prepare for all potential outcomes. Field Marshal Spädel, I want you to organize with Hans Mueller and Orpo. The Reich is going into total lockdown. That's an order. His nervous fingers strummed to the desk. Until that snake and his ilk are found, I want the borders fully closed. Werner Newman and our RMVP will deal with this in public. The borders are closing for security-related purposes or something similar. Do you understand me? Yeah, the party's getting more powerful, but again, we have full support over there. We have 86% control. So I'm assuming this had to be at 70% for us to win. But, I mean, it's all looking good. Presumably, we're not going to get assassinated. But that's maybe a little... maybe it's a little too early to say. Hey, we actually got up to 10. Our gamble did pay off. I'm happy to see it. We'll have you go towards our capital. You are currently at... 67% capitulation, which I'm happy to see. Once you're in Baku, move your way down the border like this. Move your way to these cities. Go to Czech. I don't think we need to worry about that minigame anymore. I think we were done with that. Cover up the calls. I mean, they're at 98%. Okay, so the government in Africa is just going to collapse at some point. And we have 98.5% strength, so I'm assuming that's pretty good for us. Give me more stability for them. How are they? Are they at war, or are they just hanging out? Well, right now, they're basically just chilling. But if we can maybe get Colombian on side, I wouldn't say no. An attempted assassination. In the lazy heat of the afternoon, an assassination attempt was foiled in the village of Arnsbach. Due to FHO forewarning, a noted reformist officer, Alexis von Rohn, canceled a planned meeting with 6 of his subordinates at the Arnsbach garrison. Orbital units and bomb disposal specialists were called to disarm the explosive device, which proved to be a successful operation. The failed bombing was clearly a botched political assassination by Ferdinand Schroeder's military clique. Chief of the OKW, Hans Spädel, has urged caution, but the Fuhrers sworn vengeance against the perpetrators of this crime. Okay, let's send our tank to Sochi. Move it all the way down into Georgia here. Yeah, move you down over to Poti. Let's have you go and take back our areas in Crimea here. Taking the capital. We've taken Baku, which means, again, you've got to be, yeah, pretty close. Visions of a civil war. The Reichshandel was in total lockdown. On and those Policia troops were patrolling every corridor, guarding every room, gathering outside every entrance armed with heavy weaponry. It was the early hours of the morning, but Bormann still worked in his smoke-filled office, signing paperwork and barking orders down the phone. He was communicating with the administrations and his loyal Reichskommissariats, desperate to aid them in any possible way, uncovering Schroeder's whereabouts. The OKW's headquarters in total lockdown, head troops were patrolling every corridor, guarding every room. Gathering outside every entrance armed with heavy weaponry, it was the early hours of the morning, but Spädel paced through the quarters in deep thought, hands clutched behind his back. He had communicated with several intelligence contacts in the east, hearing their detailed reports and determining which leads to follow up and which to ignore. The Fuhrer and the Reichsmarschall finally retired to bed, though sleep evaded them. With Schroeder's plot to unfold, the nation would suffer a second Bürgerkrieg, the two major eruptions in Instead of violence in a short amount of time, spell the end to the Reich itself, and potential rise for the Bloody Ferdinand as Fuhrer of the Ashes. Okay, let's move you over to this city. We're going to move you over towards Schneck. Move you here, move you here. And how many men have we lost in this operation? 6,000 to 99,000. Those are numbers I love to see. And this should collapse in just a mere moment. Yes, there we go. And now it's under a friendly government. We love to see it. So now you're all looking good. We can't do any of these until we completed 1,000 weeks Reichs. And we do Norway. So we have to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, fair enough. So you're still here. I guess for this army, we're just going to station you on the border with the communists. I feel like that just makes sense. Because Zhukov over here, he's looking, I would say, pretty powerful. Which I'm not a big fan of for obvious reasons. Okay, 9 days, we're going to get another tie here. The Romania should... I mean, we need a majority. We've won one round. If we tie for the rest, I guess that does still kind of benefit. I actually don't know if it's 1-0-0-0-0 if we still win or not. Breakthrough. The phone's shrill ring pierced Borman's ears. He darted from the window and grabbed it without a moment's hesitation. "Hi, Bormann," came Speidl's voice. It sounded exhausted, yes, but somehow different. Somehow hopeful. Bormann ran his hand over the scalp and held his breath. "I've been recently the breakthrough report from the FHO agents. Scott had been sighted in Ostland." In Ostland, Bormann was frozen like a statue. "He's been traced to the city of Riga. The reports are highly credible, my Fuhrer." Bormann viciously punched the air in silent celebration. He may have underestimated Schorner, but so did Schorner underestimate the Fuhrer's cunning. That was if the reports were true, of course. Bormann sunk to his chair. What if the FHO agents were loyal to the militarist? What if the whole thing was a trap? There's no room for trust. Once we have 75% control, we can execute. And guess what? Hey, look at that. We're at 78% execute. The assassination of Ferdinand Schorner. Having further analyzed the situation, spoke Speidl's tired voice, "I believe that we must act with caution. Launching an assault on Schorner's location with our Weimar troops is too risky and not particularly necessary." "I agree," Bormann responded. "We should smother the infant in his crib. Instruct the FHO agents to assassinate the Revered Reichsmarschall without Ferdinand Schorner leading the charge. His insidious cabal will soon collapse." Exactly what I was going to suggest, my Fuhrer. Speidl responded eagerly. Execute. How are we only at 78%? I'm not too sure. I guess maybe we lost control of the church. But again, I don't think we need to spend points into that anymore. I don't think it's necessary. So I guess we can do this one now. Sure. That should complete automatically because we've already taken more than 7 days. We'll secure our holdings here. That sounds fine to me. Amur's... Okay, so we have... NASA, so... I mean, are you pro-Germany, though? Or are you just, like, fascist Russians? I don't actually know. But maybe it's better than the alternative. 97% is looking good. Fortify the Caribbean. And you guys here... I guess we'll just assign you into like the Netherlands. Sounds okay. We'll draw, not you. We'll draw an orange line out like this. And that seems fine for right now. Okay, we're going to get another tie with Italy here, which I don't know if that's good or not. Troops on the border. If FHO agents seek to determine the Field Marshal Schorner's precise location in Riga, the plot assassination, most of the Weimar units may covertly move to the border of Ostland upon insistence of the Fuhrer. Every possible outcome must be prepared for. In the event of any assassination attempt failing, the situation could sour, lead to an attempted invasion of the Reich's borders. Any such invasion would be crushed by the glorious Weimar loyalists. Of course, but Bormann was a man who took no chances. So what are we at right now? 78%? I mean, it's looking good for us right now. Gonna get some land forts. I mean, that's fine. Our GDP is going to increase a little bit. I mean, that sounds good. What more can I say, really? Okay, it's turn 4. What do we have here? 2 to 4, 1 to 3. I 1 to 6 actually would be really nice. Okay. FOH agents have determined the exact location of Reichsmarschall Ferdinand Schorner. Investigations have traced him to the Hermann von Schlager Hospital in Riga. Target is being treated with an unidentified stomach disease. Infiltration and elimination of target poses several issues as detailed on page 2 of the title attachment. We await your orders. Hail Bormann. Kill him. We're going to send you over to Purple Army. 8 days on you. More stuff's happening in Indonesia. Like, I'm sure what's happening in Indonesia is really cool if you're American or Japanese. But when you're Germany, we literally do not give a single shit. Oh, we got double agent? Is that something I can actually do here? I don't actually know. But sure, I'll take them. And we've captured an Italian operative as well. Ferdinand Schorner wrapped his slender, shaking fingers around the mug in the morning tea and raised his pale lips. As usual, it's too sweet. The small action was already drained him of his energy, which seized his body over the last week. At first, he ranted at doctors in a fury. Why is his skin grown paler? Why is his hand shaking? What the fuck? Why the fuck is his hair falling out? The screams have devolved in little more than raspy whispers in a matter of days. The doctor insisted on their ignorance and confusion. The stomach operation had gone perfectly. He would fit to be walking in a matter of days. There was no explanation for the vomiting or the diarrhea or the bleeding gums. On his orders, they had stopped giving him morphine as soon as the first clump of hair had fallen into his evening soup. With a pained moan, Schorner stretched his stick-thin arm out to pace the mug down. It slipped from his grasp at the last moment and shattered onto the floor, spilling hot tea everywhere. He was tired. So very tired. A short rest was needed, then he could get back to work. Just one more nap. The doctors found him an hour later. Respiratory deficiency was written as a death certificate. The powder worked just fine. So we've lost our Silda Field Marshal. Put Wagner in charge here. And presumably that means that you are now done. You are not done yet. Presumably, okay, we might get one more event being like, it's done. Presumably, at least. Okay. So we have 1 to 6. We're up to 4 now. 2 to 4. I mean, a 2 to 4 does sound nice. 3,000 infantry equipment, honestly, is not a bad deal at all. And there's nothing else we can really take at the moment. We just gotta wait until this is done. And I'm ready for it. I'm so ready. Okay. More units assigned you to pink. And the death of the Miltrist plot. The dread of Ferdinand Schorner caused immediate disarray among his Miltrist followers. Many units turned against their former allies, others fled further east. The few that remained quickly descended into interconservancies and power struggles. By the time Otto von Remmer had rallied the remaining men to his side, the Weimar troops were sweeping through Riga and mopping up what was left. Remmer hailed Schorner as he faced the execution squad. Upon hearing news of Schorner's most tragic death and destruction of his forces later that morning, Borden invited Hans Spädel and Baldur von Scratch to a celebrating meal of steak and wine. The chief of the OKW was satisfied after 2 glasses, the chief of the party councilor after 2 bottles. Bormann allowed himself the rare indulgence as he sipped his wine, contentedly picturing Schorner wasting away as the plutonium worked its magic. Mildred's plot was foiled, its leader was dead. Spädel had been foolish enough to believe Bormann promised of fully ascending to the foremost of fans, had he not learned his lesson. Okay. And presumably that means we can now do the 1,000-week Reich forevermore. Foreign policy decisions available. You are currently at 95, which looks good to me. Stabilize their army. I mean, what are you at right now? 61% stability, 81% war support. Now, I don't know when you will actually attack in Colombia. By the way, how's our ranking doing in the Cold War? Hey, we're now in a very solid 2nd place. We've crawled out of the hole we were in after the Civil War. From dust to dust. Just a few years of the 20th century have been more than enough for much of the world. It is so hard to imagine what it looked like millions of years ago. As dinosaurs began to rule the Earth over the 135 million years ago, the supercontinent of Gondwana broke apart into enormous eastern section split and drifted northwards. Is this just about dinosaurs? Okay. Dinosaurs are cool. Yeah, I'll give them that. But that's a lot of text, and I mean this series is not that's gone on long enough, but there's been a lot of reading. And I think I'm on like episode 8 of this recording session. That's a lot of reading. That's a lot of reading for one man to do. Okay, so you're gonna be finished. We're gonna remove the Lost Generation. Political power gain goes up. I mean, actually, we get a lot of good stuff out of this. This all looks great. Okay, research slot. Let's go for you next. Again, it doesn't really matter so much. Let's be honest. Prepare you for war against the Russians, just in case they do something a little bit silly. And I mean, they very easily. Oh, there's actually a lot of stuff here now. We've dealt with the aftermath of dismantlement. Okay. Sweeping the dregs. Put you in a blue army. And now we can go back up to Norway. You're at 9, huh? Are you gonna overplay your hand, Italy? Do I take... You know what? I'll take the 2/3 chance to succeed. We need to win in Romania. Let's just put it that way. Like, that needs to happen. I don't want Romania falling to the Italian sphere. Like, that would just be ridiculous for us. How are you guys doing? Well, let's bolster you up again. We want to keep you as close to 100 as possible. Just in case that really does make a major difference here. Okay, morning schemes. Bormann rubbed his eyes once more and glanced through his office window. The sun was rising upon Germania as the Führer stopped pacing around and sat back in his chair. Though he tried, he could not recall when he last had left his office before sunrise. Perhaps before the attempted coup? Not that it mattered much, of course. Sleep never came easy to Führer until he dealt with all his work, and even then, Bormann did not take pleasure in his slumber. Bloody waste of time, he thought. He would remain sleepless for some more. The Reich had almost met its downfall thanks to his rival schemings, and Bormann could not allow that to happen again. While associates had been diligent in purges, his work remained, and the Führer could not allow himself any naivete. He and his allies sat at the same table and laughed at the same jokes for now, but they would pounce at any slight of weakness. Baron Bormann had begun to plan, though. A few hours later, Bormann called Heinrich Müller and scheduled a meeting. So we've dismantled the militarists, and I'm guessing we need to also then dismantle the reformists next as well. Presumably, that's our next step. King of the North. Okay, so we need to negotiate with the Norwegians soon. We've dealt with the aftermath of dismantlement. Our one true ally. Lifting the curtain. I mean, there's actually a lot of... I'm guessing this is like the end game stuff. I'm assuming like once all of this is done, that's basically the end of the campaign. So yeah, we're reaching the end. We're reaching the end. I'm glad I had that kind of finishing... that finish line in sight, but we'll go with the King of the North next. But for now, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, a thumbs up. Not doing a thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.